Hello everyone. So I'm continuing with my little projects. This is a continuation of the last project I did where I did a manual setup of a website on a Linux server. So in this project, we are going to automate that process. So just a little context. I am taking a beginning DevOps course and I'm doing these videos as a sort of a learning aid. So I go through the course videos and then I try to replicate the hands-on portions just to make sure that I have an understanding of the flow of the process, and I'm able to actually acquire the hands-on skills. So that being said, this is not by any means an expert level tutorial. It's just a way for me to optimize what I'm learning. So, like I said in the last video, I did a manual setup of a website on a Linux server using a few tools, Git Bash, 2plate.com, where we got the free HTML templates and the Vagrant configuration file. So I'm going to try to automate that process based on what I've learned. And like we did the last time, I'm going to create a new directory for that. So I'm quickly going to go into my folder where I have set up for my VMs. So in this folder, I'm going to create a directory called IAC, Infrastructure as Code. So that's my directory, and I'm going to change into this directory right now. Since that's where I want to set up my virtual machine. So like we usually do, first command is vagrant init, and then we need to go to the cloud, the vagrant cloud, and get our vagrant box. So I'm going to use the same CentOS box, Gearling guy centos7. So I'll copy that, go back to Git Bash, so vagrant init this vagrant box, and enter. So that will place a vagrant file in my folder. So as you can see, a vagrant file has been placed in this directory. If you go to my Windows Explorer, you can see the IAC folder I just created. And if I click into that, that's the vagrant file. So to automate the process, we are going to edit this vagrant file. We use Notepad++. So this is the vagrant file. You can see all the configuration and parameters here. So like we did in the previous project, we are going to take out the hash here to enable a static IP address. I think I can use 55 for this. I don't think I've used that before. You can also enable a dynamically assigned IP address. You don't have to, but let's just do that as well. We'll leave the memory parameters here. We don't really need to increase the memory here. Now, for the configuration that we want to do to automate the setup, we are going to need to enable this block of code here. So it's this is the section of code that allows you to provision whatever infrastructure that you want to set up. So we will take this already inputted code. We're going to delete this. We don't want that. So this is where we're going to enter all the commands that we entered during the manual setup process. So to start us off, I think the first thing we did was we changed to, once we had our virtual machine set up, we switched to the root user. So that will be my first command, sudo -i. Now the next line, we install the HTTPD server, that's our web server, and we also install the unzip utility, and then we'll also install wget just in case it's not already installed on the CentOS virtual machine. So yum install httpd unzip wget -y. That will make sure that any questions that come up during the installation process are answered yes, so that our installation process is not interrupted. So the next step now, after we did the installation, we started up our web server. So systemctl start httpd and then systemctl enable httpd. So those are the next steps that we took. We started our server and enabled it. Now the next thing after we did that was we went to download our HTML template, and we downloaded that into our temp folder. So I'll put in the command to change into the temp folder, and then we are going to use wget to download our free template. So let's go to twoplate.com. I've decided to use a different template here, so we use Chilling Cafe, and we will do our function F12 to be able to retrieve the download zip. So when we click on download here, we will get the download zip folder and the URL for that folder. So we select that URL, copy, go back to git bash. Go back to our configuration folder, and then we do wget and paste in that URL. So once the download happens, we should have in our temp folder a folder called 2118_chilling_cafe.zip. So we are going to unzip that. So copy, and our next command will be unzip that zip folder. So paste that back here. Once that is unzipped, we should have a folder called 2118_chilling_cafe. Now we can cd into that folder that we should have after unzipping it. So I'll just take out the zip extension there, and once we are in that folder, we want to copy that folder into our var/dub/html folder. So I'm going to copy -r to copy recursively everything in that folder. Since we are in the 2118_chilling_cafe folder, copy everything in there into our /var/dub/html. Right. Once that is done, we should have all the contents for the HTML template in our var.dub.html, which will make sure that when we go to our IP address, we will have Chilling Cafe responding. Now we've done all that. We've altered our web server folder, so we should restart our web server. So that will be systemctl restart httpd, and I believe that this completes the process. Just quick run through. So first of all, install httpd unzip and wget, starts the httpd the server after installation and then enable it. We switch into our temp folder so that we can download our HTML template, unzip the template, change into the template directory. You might, it's not necessary to do that. You can also copy without switching into it, but once we do that, we copy everything within that folder into our var/www/html. We restart our httpd folder, and then that should be good to go. So let's give it a go. We'll save this and close. Let's go back to git bash, and fingers crossed this should work. So Vagrant up to provision our virtual machine with Chilling Cafe HTML templates already installed. Enter. So the Vagrant up command should run. Give that a few minutes, and let's see how it goes. So you probably want to, speed up the video during this portion of the project. I know it takes a few minutes to do, so you can speed up the video while the virtual machine is being provisioned, and then when we get to the point where we want to check our IP address for the Chilling Cafe templates setup, then you can slow it down again. So let's allow Vagrant to set up the VM for us, and then we'll check our IP address and see if we've successfully automated our website setup process. Okay. Still provisioning our VM, our virtual machine. Okay. Process is still ongoing. So here, running provisioner shell. So it's running the inline script. That's the code that we entered into the Vagrant file. That's the inline script that's is being referred to here. So it's loading plugins, checking the mirrors. So if you notice, when we had our first video, when we were installing HTTPD, we saw similar text on the screen about mirrors. So it's checking for the fastest mirrors to download those programs from HTTPD, unzip, and wget if it's not already installed. So we'll just give it a few minutes to do the work, and then we will do our check. Still working. So I'm guessing the faster your internet speed, the faster this process will take. Okay, so we can see it's going through the installation process, installing HTTPD as we requested. I'm going through all the packages. Sure, it's inflating the Chilling Cafe. Okay, and we're done. So fingers crossed. Let's do the if config to get our IP address. Oh, sorry, I have to SSH into the virtual machine. So Vagrant SSH first. So that's SSH is short for secure shell, and that just allows you to connect securely to your virtual machine. So we're in, and I can run the ifconfig. Let me clear the screen so that we can see. So if I run the ifconfig command, that will give us our IP address. So this is the dynamically assigned IP address. Let's copy that. Go into our browser to the moment of truth. Have we been able to automate our website setup process? There we go. So we've been able to set up our chilling cafe websites without manually entering the commands. We configured it in our Vagrant file, and we have successfully set it up. So the beauty of this is that imagine that you're in a workplace and you have to set up various websites for clients. All you have to do is just share this configuration file with your teammates or your fellow admins or engineers, and all they have to do is just run the Vagrant up command, and they will have their website set up. They might want to change the template they're using, so all they have to do is go into the Vagrant file and edit for whatever template. So we did it. Thank you everyone for coming along, and hopefully we will have more interesting DevOps automation projects as we go along in the course. I will post the link to the course I'm actually taking in case anyone is interested in that. I'll post the link in the description or the comments. Thanks again, everyone. Take care.